Hey everybody, it's Tyler. I'm back with Ed Soares, owner of the LFA and manager of many successful UFC fighters. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Marcos Degley just successfully defended his interim flyweight championship at LFA 225. Giving his sniper reputation, do you see him as a contender who could skip the contender series and go straight into the UFC?
I definitely think Marcus Degley is prepared to be able to step into the UFC and be extremely competitive. Um, I would love to see him skip the contender series and go right in. But if he got the opportunity to be in the contender series and the way he fights, I know he's going to go out there, get an incredible finish, and most likely get signed by the UFC.
You've mentioned this deal was about untold stories. How is the LFA using Vice's platform to build fighter brands before they reach the UFC?
Well, the beauty about being on Vice TV is that it's in 45 million households just here in the US. So the exposure that Vice will be giving all the athletes that compete on the LFA will be giving them exposure to a lot more people around the United States. And also, as we're building our international distribution, we're going to be going in more and more homes. So I believe that, by the end of this year, we'll be in the potential of 300 to 400 million households throughout the world.
Congrats on your switch to Vice, by the way.
Thank you.
You've said that you want people to. Wait, sorry. With LFA now broadcasting on Vice TV, how has the shift from UFC Fight Pass changed the way you produce your live events?
Well, when we were producing on UFC Fight Pass, it was only a streaming platform, which was great. They've been a great partner for us for 5 years, and it was great. But now that we're on Vice, it's their shows are produced more like broadcast television, so we have commercial breaks and certain things that once you're streaming on an all digital streaming platform, there are a lot of things that you don't have to take into consideration. And so the technical aspect of it, there has been some changes, but what the fans can expect is still the great fighters, great fights, and a really great production of a show.
Of course. You said you want people to think you made a difference in the lives of fighters. Beyond the athletes you manage, what is one LFA built success story that makes you feel the proudest?
We've had so many incredible athletes come through the LFA, and like I've said before, the LFA is almost like a fraternity. We've developed so many fighters; it's really hard for me to pick one that that sticks out. I kind of feel the same. I kind of feel like children. You love all your kids the same, and you just want to see their success. And so it's hard for me to pick one particular fighter. But like I said, I want to make a difference. I want to know that we help them. I look at fighters' careers sometimes. If I was to look at it as a block wall, right? I would love to. I would love, and when I look at their wall of success, nothing is going to make me happier than seeing a few of those blocks being LFA that help build that wall of success.
Of course. What do you see as the core strengths that make LFA the top developmental promotion in MMA today?
Well, I feel that there's a few aspects of why we are the top developmental organization in the world. Number one, the talent that we produce, the types of fights we put on. We put on competitive fights. So the UFC or any other organization that decides to sign one of our athletes to them, they know that they're fighting the top tier competition at that level. So I feel that the UFC knows that when they get LFA athlete that they're battle tested and they're able to know that they're going to perform on the bigger stage. I also think a big difference of what we do is that we produce 25 shows a year, and I don't think there's too many shows out there in the world that produce 25 shows a year or more, other than the UFC.
How do you handle the emotional intensity before a major fight of somebody that used to be a part of your organization or that you have managed?
It's at this point, I've been in this game for a long time, so I try to not let the nerves affect me, but sometimes they do, and I think that's normal. But like I've said in the past, fighting for the LFA is kind of like being in a fraternity. So I think the hardest part is when we have so many athletes inside the UFC, and when you see two athletes that came from the LFA fighting each other, that's always a bummer. The upside is I know one of them is going to win, but the downside is I know one of them is going to lose. And but at what I like to do is I like to just see the success of everyone. So yeah, I think I've been in this business so long, I'm able to maintain the nerves when it comes to that.
How do you approach fighter development inside the LFA?
Well, I feel that we give the fighters, number one, a platform that so they can be recognized worldwide. When you're fighting for the LFA, we're almost a mini version of the UFC. So if you're fighting on the main card, you're going to have to understand that there's media commitments, there's photo sessions, there's all these different sorts of things that help prepare them. For when they get to the big stage, they're able to do the other things outside of fighting. Yes, fighting is extremely important, but there's also another side of fighting, which is how to market yourself, how to do interviews, and how to communicate with your fans. And we try to do our best that we can in helping these athletes develop.
Thank you so much for the interview and your time.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Anytime, Tyler.
Thank you.